Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video tutorial. This will be bot number 37 and it will be on a new topic, the opposite direction cannons or the deferred opposite direction cannons. This bot again will be based on the free ebook that is available on the World Xiangqi Federation website on the link given below. The book is Deception and Countermeasures in the Xiangqi opening, and this will be bot number 37. So without further ado, let us begin the bot. Okay, so far it will appear that black was about to play the screen horse defense, but in this case, in this chapter, black would go for the left cannon blockade. Now, this is one of the more aggressive counters that started appearing, I think, in the 1960s or 70s. There's a stamp game whereby Grandmaster Hu Ronghua used this opening to score a very important victory. And when the left cannon blockade is played, one of the most important moves for red to move would be to play p3 plus 1, so that this horse would be able to threaten to go to the riverbank and threaten the black cannon after pushing the pawn another move forward. Usually black would counter with the opposite direction cannons, and because black did not play c2 equals to 5 for his first move, this opening system would be called the deferred opposite direction cannons. The Chinese name would be 半途猎炮 or 后补猎炮. Usually, red. There are many ways for red to play this position, developing the horse as a proper horse, etc. But in this board, red will push both the third and seventh pawns forward for the double-headed snake pawns formation. Black would continue with h2 plus 3, and red would go for c8 equals to 7. Now this is the position of discussion, because the red would now threaten to capture the black horse in this manner. Now this is a classical deceptive move. So red was prepared to play p7 plus 1, and if black captured the red pawn, red would capture the black horse. So how should black deal with this situation? There were two main variations. The first was e3 plus 1, and the second was r1 equals to 2. In the first variation, black would defend very passively with e3 plus 1, such that if black pushed p7 plus 1, the elephant would be able to capture the pawn. However, red would not push the pawn forward but attack in this manner. Now this is a very practical move in that black would gain a pawn in the process and allow his horse to develop as a proper horse with h8 plus 7. Black would continue r1 equals to 2, red would develop his horse, and it would not be a good idea to play r2 plus 3 because the chariot would have blocked the elephant, and red would simply push p3 plus 1 to protect the cannon. Red would offer to trade chariots, which of course black would not want to do because he will lose a move in the process. This is one common way to play this position, whereby black would apply a lot of pressure on red's right flank by linking the chariots. But red will be prepared, and with c7 equals to 3, black's any hope of playing c8 equals to 7 would be dashed, because now the red cannon would threaten to capture the black cannon, and now there would be a trade of material. So in just a few rounds, we can see that red easily gained the advantage, and thus, in the first variation, e3 plus 1 to defend passively against a potential p7 plus 1 threat that never materialized would not be a good idea. A short recap: e3 plus 1, and red will capture the pawn, develop his left chariot, force the chariot to black chariot to less than desirable position before playing c7 equals to 3. So how should black react? The recommended move would be to simply develop the chariot and forget about this horse. Now, there were two main subvariations that were discussed. The first would be that red would continue to attack with p7 plus 1, and the other would be for red to offer balanced development of his left horse. Now, in the first subvariation, which I have called variation BA, p7 plus 1 was played as red would try to continue his attack. But this was not a good move because black could simply play r2 plus 8, simply ignoring red's threat. r2 plus 8 is a very powerful move because just with one chariot, black could have completely immobilized red's left flank. The red chariot, the red horse would not be able to move. The elephant would not be able to move to the edge file either because it was now blocked by the black chariot. So after a2 plus r2 plus 8, if red tried to attack with p7 plus 1, black would simply move the horse to safety with h3 minus 1. Again, the red cannot capture the elephant because the horse would now have protected the elephant, and this pawn, although it was very menacing, would not be able to advance, or it can only move to the central file. Move towards the central file. But in this, what would happen if red tried to be aggressive with h3 plus 4? Black could simply capture the central file. If black was overly concerned with gaining material and chose to play c5 equals to 2, what would happen? Let's say black tried to gain material by capturing their horse. Red will counter very aggressively with p3 plus 1, so that any material lost here will be compensated by a material gain over here. This will lead to a very, very complicated situation, and it could still be anybody's game. But at this point, red would have two pawns that have crossed the river, and the issue of these two pawns would be a big headache for black. Red would be considered to have the slight advantage. So after c5 plus 4, a check, moving the advisor, black would immediately retreat his cannon. There are several reasons for doing so. The first would be to block the red house from attacking, and the other more sinister reason would be to prepare to play c8 equals to 3 to attempt a checkmate. If c8 equals to 3, which was a discovered attack, was played, red would have to move his king to safety, but he would lose his chariot in the process, and black would have a winning position. So that was why red would have to prevent this from happening and play c7 plus 1. And red would continue to be very aggressive, offering a trade of chariots. And at this point in time, the material on red's left flank would be a big headache because it was not developed, and this horse would not have any good place to go. The red cannon cannot capture the black cannon, or this cannon will be delivering a check. So that is why black would have no need to move his or protect his cannon with p5 plus 1 at this point. So black would have the obvious upper hand in this situation. So a short recap. Correct move for black to play would be r1 equals to 2. And if red continued to attack, black would have a very powerful attack going on the central file, and would also have eliminated the threat of this chariot by the threat of chariots. In subvariation 2, black would develop his horse as an edge horse. Now this would not be a good idea, obviously, because one of the main reasons for playing this move was to try to develop the horse as a proper horse, as can be seen in the first variation. So if h8 plus 9 were played, it would be advisable for black to play r2 plus 5. This was a very timely move. It would not be a good idea to play r2 plus 4 to patrol the riverbank, because black could offer a trade of chariots. If black accepted, he will lose a move. But if he continued with r2 equals to 8, black could counter aggressively by attacking black's right flank. As mentioned in my other videos, in opposite direction cannons, there's a natural tendency for both colors to attack one flank, such that it will become a flank game, which is very evident in this short presentation. So black would continue with c equals to 7, hoping to gain material, but red would simply move his chariot back to the bot corner, and after making this move, red's attack, although it would seem that red has lost the move, but the entire black attack would have been diminished, and there was nothing that these two chariots could do, and this black cannon would also not be very efficient. And black would continue to try to protect his horse by changing formation, and red could simply attack very, very aggressively. The red cannon on the 7th file would have now become very efficient, and it would be very obvious that red would command the advantage. So that is why r2 plus 4 would not be a good idea. Instead, r2 plus 5 would be played. Now, if r2 plus 5 would be played, black, it would be best for red to play r9 equals to 8 to try to trade chariots. p7 plus 1 would not be a good idea, because r2 plus 3 by black would foil red's attack, and black would simply capture the pawn. And one of the biggest problems with developing the left horse as an edge horse would be the fact that the elephant cannot move to the edge file and protect this intersection. So that is why the chariot would have no fear of being attacked by any red pieces at the time being. Again, c7 plus 4 to try to capture the pawn and attack the elephant would not be a good idea, as the elephant could be moved to safety, and black would still command this very, very, very important line. Red would try to attempt a trade of material. But once the red chariot had moved to the pawn rank, this horse would be now in trouble. So black would have seized and commanded the initiative. So that is why the best move for red would be to try to offer a trade of chariots at this point. Of course, black would not want to do trade chariots. And as can be seen, just after a few moves, although black had retreated his horse, he had a very open position, whereas black's material were relatively cramped, and this cannon rank will be the main line of defense. There are many things that black can do at this point. He can continue with c5 equals to 3 to threaten to gain material, or r3 equals to 7 to attack this red horse. Both of these moves would gain tempo, and black can be very optimistic of his chances in this situation. So, quick recap: red's c equals to 7 was a deceptive move, trying to entice black to protect the black horse in this position. Variation 1, e3 plus 1 was very passive defense, and the correct move would be r1 equals to 2. And there were two subvariations, the first of which was red will continue to attack with p7 plus 1. But this would be done at the expense of inadequate development of the left flank. Also, h8 plus 9 would not be a good idea, as eventually black the black pieces would still be very much more mobile, and red would have a very cramped position. So I hope you've enjoyed this very short video. If you like the work that I've been doing, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.